Happy video day, guys. So today's video, I wanted to share with you guys my entire eyeshadow palette collection. And I was gonna sit in my desk and I was gonna pull them out for you, but I didn't think that we were gonna be able to appreciate everything. And also I just wanted it to be a little bit more casual and just like really go through everything. So what I did was I laid it all out on the floor behind me, and I'm just gonna go ahead and go through every single one of them with you guys and show you guys my entire collection so you could see what I have in my collection. So that's what we're gonna do. Of course, this video may lead into a decluttering video to happen pretty soon, but right now I'm just gonna be showing you guys my entire collection. So if you guys are new here and you never seen me before, I'm Christina Brooke. I would love it if you'd wanna join the family by just hitting that subscribe button just for 1 second. Just take a second to hit the subscribe button and then you can see me again. And let's go ahead and let's get into it. Let's get into everything that I have laid out behind me. Okay, so I hope I'm in frame. I'm actually filming with the monitor of my camera, which usually I actually have like a little screen. So I'm hoping this stays on and I hope I stay in the frame. But if I don't, we're trying this. This is new. We're trying something new here. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and share with you guys every single one of my eyeshadow palettes. This may not be a ginormous collection of eyeshadows, but you guys know that I've been very stingy with eyeshadow palettes. I've been doing my Make Up Your Mind series, which has really made me limit the amount of eyeshadow palettes that I've been purchasing, and I have cut down my eyeshadow palettes, and I think I have, you know, a collection that I enjoy. Is there still some stuff missing? I still think so, but I think everybody thinks that there's something missing from their collection, or maybe that's just an excuse for us to continue to buy stuff. But either way, I'm gonna go ahead and show you every single one. There is a mixture here. So we've got drugstore and we have high-end. So, and I think we have like one very bougie or two bougies. Actually, there's a few bougies. Yeah. Cost a lot of money. So let's go ahead and let's get into it. So the first one I am going to show you is this guy right here. So this is the first one. This is my Violet Voss Eyeshadow Pro. This is the HG Pro. I got this in BoxyCharm, and I will admit, it's pretty damn good. I don't pull it out as much as I think I should pull it out, but I do really enjoy this palette. I will tell you guys, like for Make Up Your Mind, especially when I'm looking for a lot of like burgundy-ish tones, I pull this one out a lot, and I've realized that it has a nice array of tones in it. The formula is good. It's not my favorite formula, to be honest. So like sometimes I will go maybe into a Modern Renaissance if I'm looking for these type of colors, but it definitely has been useful. So that's why I still have kept it. I decided to pause for a second and do a funny thumbnail because I had so much stuff laid out. I'm gonna mess up this whole like setup and I'm not gonna be able to take a picture. So, okay, so we talked about this one. Let's talk about this one. So this is another one that I got in BoxyCharm. So BoxyCharm sends us quite a few eyeshadow palettes, and I will admit, I don't even think I have that many left from BoxyCharm because I have decluttered a lot, but this is the Ace Beauty Scarlet Dusk palette. This is a recent palette I got in BoxyCharm. I think it's okay, to be honest. I have kind of kept this one because I don't have these type of tones in my collection, and I have found it useful when I'm looking for colors, but it is like one of those palettes that I feel like if I found a palette that had these type of tones that I like the formula more, I would declutter it. It's not bad. It's definitely a decent palette. It's just not like my favorite formula. You know what I mean? So it's like kind of like one of those that's kind of lingering around, but I'm not like in love with it. That's how that one is. Okay, so this is one of my Pixie palettes. I actually got this in PR. This is the Natural Beauty palette. Very pretty cool tone browns. I find myself not gravitating to this palette only because it's basically a cool tone brown palette, and sometimes I just don't do very cool tone brown looks. However, now that I'm looking at this palette, I'm thinking, God, I should start using this more often because there's some really pretty colors in here, and I do remember liking the formula, and I think it's just when you start to accumulate too many eyeshadow palettes, guys, this is kind of what happens, is you kind of forget the palettes that you own and the colors in those palettes. So it's different if you have like 4 eyeshadow palettes that you love, like you remember those colors, but when you have too many, you start to lose sight of what's in each palette. And I have to admit that this is one that I have lost sight on, and I really should dive into it because I do like the formula, and yeah. Okay, New Nude from Huda Beauty. This palette, guys, is one of those palettes that it's so beautiful when you buy it. You use it for a while and then you kind of forget. I used it today on my eyes and I forgot how pretty this palette is. And honestly, guys, it's so gorgeous. Like the eye look that I've created today is so simple, but yet it is so stunning. Like I really honestly love this look. I don't know, I really appreciate it. And I feel like this is one that I need to use more. So this has been a pretty decent, and so I think that this would be a very good investment, especially for people who like more natural looks on their lids. This is such a beautiful palette. But I have not pulled it out that often, and I really should. That's a good palette. Look, I love the eye look I did today, so. Anyways, okay, so Alamar Cosmetics. I got this in BoxyCharm, and it is a really cool palette. If you guys can see, the color story is just really neat. Also, I believe the owner of this brand is from Miami, and since I'm from Miami, I kind of feel like I don't know, I want to support this brand, but I really love the colors in here, and the formula actually was shockingly really good, and I like it, you know. Do I use these colors very often? No, even though the other day I did a really cool teal eye, and I probably could have used this color right here for that same type of look, but this has a cool color story. You know what, I think I'm gonna have to pull this one out for summer, because it does have like that summer tropical vacation vibe, you know. Okay, Huda Beauty. I love these Obsession minis, guys. I really do. So this is the Mauve Obsession. This is one of my favorite Obsession palettes. I hope I don't like get this glare in you guys' eyes, but I can't, like I said, I don't have my big monitor in front of me, so I can only see myself in that little tiny thing, and I can't even see because I don't have my glasses on, so. Anyways, so I really love this palette, guys. This is the most beautiful mauve kind of pinky tone palette that I own, and I love it. I think it's great. Like if you guys like these type of tones, this is like, I don't know, I feel like it's like the best palette to own. Then I have two Natasha Denona minis. I have a bunch more, but these are the two in front of me. The first one here is the Sunset palette. This is the mini Sunset. This, I believe, was her first mini that I purchased, and I don't know, was this the first mini she ever created? I feel like it was. And the formula here is not 100% consistent with Natasha Denona formula. Some of these colors I like a lot more than others. But that being said, it's not like it's a bad formula. It's just not like the Natasha Denona formula that we all know and love. So some of these colors I like more than others. However, they all work good together and you can create a really nice look. And if you're not into Natasha Denona's formula, you don't really know it that good, you probably will think that this is a decent palette, because it is. It's decent. It's just not her quality. You know, she has a little bit higher quality than that mini was. Now this one has like total Natasha Denona formula. This one here is called the Mini Glam. I love this one. So this is kind of a cool tone brown, kind of similar to what I talked about with the Pixie, but this guy I love to grab. And I think it's just because it's pretty new. I kind of remember the colors that are in here, and I love the looks that I create with this palette. It's gorgeous. It really is like one of those, it's like one of those that you can create looks that are not like too extravagant. You can wear them to the office, but then you can also create some really nice going out looks. So that's why I really love this palette. And yeah, I've gotten a lot of use out of it. So it's been a really good one for me. Okay, so this was something that I got in BoxyCharm, and I will be honest with you guys, I was not going to keep this. I was going to put this for a giveaway just because I knew that these colors were not colors that I tend to wear, and it looks like this, but the problem is when I opened this up, I literally daggered one of my fingers into one of the colors, and I ruined it, so I couldn't give it away anymore. But I have a feeling that I may end up decluttering this one eventually, because I've used the shadows. They're nothing out of this world great, and it's only 4 colors, and it's in this bulky kind of like leather casing that kind of just takes up space, and yeah. So, and I don't even know who it's from. Who is this? Etis? Does that say Etis? I don't even know. I think it's Etis. Okay. Misunderstood palette from ColourPop. This one I was so excited for because it is a Disney collection one, and I really like Disney, but besides that, I don't know, thought the colors were really cool. And I still think the colors are really cool, but I can probably count the times that I have gone into this palette. I don't think it's just because of the colors. Can you guys see this mic? Is this mic literally in the screen? Hold on. Yes. It's like creeping down. Stop moving, Mike. Hold on a second. My mic was literally, as I was talking, coming down, and I was like, pretty soon you're gonna be like eye level. But anyway, so I I really like the color selection. I just feel like the color selection together, it reminds me of like the Disney villains, because this is what it's supposed to be, like the Disney villains. It reminds me of that. But I just guess at the end of the day, you don't realize when you're buying a palette like this, how many times you want to wear like Disney villains on your eyes. And I guess for me, it's just not that often. So I like the colors in it. I just, you know, they don't all play great together. So it's like one of those that I'll jump in for one color. But I got to remember the colors that are in there so that I use it. Okay, so this is the It's My Ray Ray with BH Cosmetics palette. The formula in here is okay, like it's a decent formula, and I kind of have kept this one because I don't really own very colorful looks like this, like bright colors. I've told you guys before, like primary color eyeshadows is not really like eyeshadows that I gravitate to. I like played down versions of primary colors. I don't like blue, green, purple, and I feel like that's what this is, and I bought it just to have those colors in my collection. But I will tell you, I'm not like in love with this formula. I think it's good, but the times that I have used it, I've been like, okay, I guess because of the type of colors they are, I'm okay with it not being like a great formula. I'm okay with it being okay, just because I don't, you know, use those colors that often. But next one. So this right here is the chocolate gold from, who is this from? Too Faced. Here's my problem. I just opened it right now and you get this real strong whiff of chocolate. And it's funny because when I first bought this, I smelled it and I was like, oh, this smells so nice. I really like this smell. And the few times that you use it, you'll be like, oh, I really like the smell. But it's like one of those smells that after a while you're like, you know what I mean? Like every time I use this, my nose smells this smell. And like even opening it up right now, I kind of just want like, ugh, I don't know. I think it's like, are you guys like, I don't know if anybody's like me, but like if you get used to a certain smell, after a while you don't want to smell it no more. That's what this guy does to me. Like I would use this more often if it didn't have that scent. And if I end up decluttering it, which it may happen, it's probably going to be because of the scent. Because honestly, it just really annoys me, you know? Okay. Urban Decay Born to Run. Oh my god, this palette, I love this palette. Honestly, I just did a stash haul, which you guys are going to see very, very soon, or you already saw it. If you guys already saw it, it was a fun video that I hope I can keep on doing for you guys. But I love this palette. And this is the palette that I hauled in my stash haul, and I love it, and I feel like it needs more love. I feel like I have neglected that palette. Okay. Natasha Denona. You guys know my love, my admiration, my extreme love for this gold palette. I love it. And every time I show you guys this palette, I always get comments from you guys saying, I can see how much you love that palette because you have destroyed it. And it's true, I have destroyed it, but I love it. The Safari palette from Natasha Denona, another great palette. I don't use this one as much just because it's all matte, and sometimes when I'm doing eye looks, especially for YouTube, I like to put on like something that glistens a little bit with the lights. That's the only reason, because honestly this is such a beautiful palette. The mattes blend so good and you get a really good array of colors, and I just feel like this is like one of those necessity palettes for me because it has a lot of really good mattes in here. So anytime I'm looking for like these type of tones, I'm like, oh, Safari, like it just comes to mind. It has distinctive colors that you remember. That's what I like about Safari. So now we've got Metropolis. Metropolis is that Natasha Denona palette that is probably the most beautiful Natasha Denona palette, like photograph wise, looking at it wise, like this is just gorgeous. But when you go to use it on your lids, sometimes some of these colors, they don't play as nice together. So it's a little complex to use, I have to admit, but I still really like it, and I still feel like I need to give it more love, and I really need to play with it more. I feel like a lot of times I shy away from it because I think of a different look in my mind, and it's usually not this look. And I need to just jump back into this and really embrace this palette because the quality of the formula, like the quality of this palette is to die for. Like it's really, really good, and it's just the color selection that kind of sometimes gives me a hard time. But that being said, there's gorgeous colors in here that I could probably mix really good with Safari, you know? Okay, so this was a BoxyCharm product as well, and I'm really happy this came in BoxyCharm. This is the Dominique Cosmetics Celestial Thunder palette. This palette has been such a cool palette to own. I have not used it very often, to be honest, but the times that I have used it, I have thought that this quality was so good. And the colors in here are just really, really cool. What I like about it is there is one fuchsia-ish pink in here, but the rest of the colors are kind of like dyed down muted colors that I feel like I would use more often. There's 2 pops here, and the rest of them, I really think that this is going to be a cool fall palette. Forget about these 2 colors here if you cover them. Like that literally is like pumpkin spice. Like I could see this for the fall, you know? So I'm gonna be using that, I'm sure, in the fall more often. Then in here, I've got a lot of combination of Makeup Geek, ColourPop, Anastasia singles that I like to keep inside of this awesome palette from Makeup Geek. These are the best like magnetic palettes you could buy. Makeup Geek did them awesome. Okay, another Natasha Denona. This is her Lila. So Lila is another palette that I will say I bought this one because it was on sale. It was a good deal. I've always wanted Lila. I hardly use this one. I really need to give this some more love. And I've said this a couple of times. And you just know, like, when you don't gravitate to a palette and you just start to realize, like, gosh, why don't I gravitate to that one? It's not the formula, definitely not. Maybe the color selection. I like muted down pinks. I feel like some of the pinks and purples in here go a little bit too pink and purple. I like them to be a little bit more muted down. But, okay, so I think you guys remember this one from BoxyCharm. This is the Zoeva Blank Fusion. I do not like this palette, and the only reason it's still in here is because I just got it in BoxyCharm and it was not good. It was not good. If you guys saw my BoxyCharm unboxing, you know I was not the biggest fan of that palette at all. Okay, so we've got some Anastasia here. We have the Carly Bible palette. This palette is gorgeousness in a palette. I think Carly Bible did an amazing job with this. Like, honestly, beautiful. I love this palette. It's so dainty and pretty, and if you want like a beautiful, pretty, soft, like princess-esque kind of eyes, this gives it to you. And I mean that in a pretty way. Like, I don't mean it like a Barbie doll, like, oh my god, I'm so plastic, kind of pinky. I just mean it like in a really classic, pretty way. This gives you that look, and I love it. Okay, Violet Voss. This right here is the Rainbow Eyeshadow Palette, and I hardly ever use this. This is another one of those like hardly ever used palettes, but it has come in handy a couple of times, especially around Halloween. And if I want to do like a very cool like unicorn kind of eye or something with like a lot of color, I have popped myself into this palette. I feel like this is another one that kind of went like primary, electric-y, kind of colorful for me, and I like it more muted down. I've told you guys that. So that one's more like one I have just because like I want those colors, but I don't use them that often. Oh my god, I've got a lot here to go. I gotta hurry up with my talking here. Okay, Soft Glam from Anastasia. I mean, do I have to say anything about this palette? I think you guys have heard me say a million times how much I love that palette, so yes, obsessed. Okay, Subculture is another one. I love this color story, and I know Subculture got a lot of slack because it's a very, very powdery formula, and it is a little bit more difficult to work with, but I love it. I love it. I love the color story, and I really get I get a good use out of that palette. I have to admit, I've used it a lot, so it's been good for me. Okay, we've got 2 more. We've got Riviera. Riviera was one that I was so excited to purchase, and I feel like this was probably my letdown palette from Anastasia. Today there was a few pigments in here that I don't even touch on my eyes because my eyes get very irritated with pigments, so I can't use the brown, I can't use the purple, and I can't use the pink. But all the rest of the colors I can use. It's a pretty palette. It's just like, I feel like it's like that palette that you buy and you don't use, and I feel like that's what this one is. This is that Chanel bag. This is that nice handbag that you buy and it's hot pink, and then you wear it once and then you're like, damn, why did I buy that? But then you leave it there because it's still pretty to look at. That's what this one is. Pretty to look at, but I hardly ever use it. Okay, I actually feel like Carly Bible is the wearable version of Riviera. Like, I don't know. That's how I feel. Okay, Modern Renaissance. This is like the all-time OG palette from Anastasia. It's a great palette. I don't use it that often anymore, but I feel like it's just like that palette that I won't let go of because it's like the OG palette, you know? And it did get a lot of use from me back in the day. Maybe I'll bring it back out, but okay. This right here was the KKW Mario collab. I hate that you cannot see the name of this palette unless you go like this, because it has gotten so dirty that it literally looks like a gray dirty palette. Like, I feel like this packaging should be changed. It's like, oh. But this color selection is just so gorgeous. I don't think I'll ever dump this palette because I love the color selection in here. I don't use it like super often, but yes, you've got some beautiful colors in here. And like I'll tell you, like my mom purchased this palette too, and she's hit pan on a few of these colors. So it's definitely like one of those color stories that's really easy to use, and I like it. It's just I have a lot of eyeshadow, so I don't use it that often, but I do really like it. Okay, so this one, did I get this in BoxyCharm too? I don't know. I think I got this in BoxyCharm. Sassy Siennas from Dose of Colors. This was such a great palette. And I believe that, I wanted this palette. And I think I got it in BoxyCharm, and it was kind of like a shocker because I was like, oh, I got something I really wanted. And I like this. It's beautiful. It applies so nice to the lids. It's the coolest, most beautiful colors for fall. Like, I just can't wait to dive into this once it starts getting to autumn. Oh my god, I wish it was October right now. Like, I know summer's just starting, but like yesterday I walked outside and I was sweating just walking to the mailbox, and I was like, oh, I wish it was October. Anyways, okay, so we have this right here. So this is Charlotte Tilbury, and this is her Icon palette. If you guys can see, this palette is just such a cool palette. I didn't expect to like this as much as I did, and I use this so much. Is this mic coming back down into the frame? I hope not. But I use this so much, guys. When this first got released, I used this like crazy. It's another one of those palettes that I just haven't gravitated to because I've gotten other palettes, but yeah, this is one that I need to start using again because I loved it when it came out. And segue into something that I purchased last year, and was it last year? Yeah, I think this was, no, well, yeah, I think it was. It was like in December or something. This is a Charlotte Tilbury Starry Eyes to Hypnotize. This was her holiday palette. I love this palette, and it's so funny because it looks so boring, and I always say that, but this is like one of those boring palettes that's so easy to use, and it actually has a lot of looks you can create with it because you can go two different directions. You can go like the pinky, like more warm tone, or you can jump the more cool tone and use some greens and blacks, and I just feel like there's so many looks I can do with this. This is like almost like an all-in-one palette for me. It's so pretty. I really love it. I think that she did a great job with it, and it didn't even sell me that much as when I bought it and I used it. You know what I mean? Okay, so we've got two more Obsession palettes here. We have the Huda Beauty Smoky Obsessions, which this is such a good palette. I love this one. Like, if you want that smoky eye look, this gave it to me, and it's amazing. The black in there is killer, and I use it all the time. And the Emerald Obsession, another great palette. I don't grab this one that much, but when I do green eyes, this does it like, whoo. Okay, so now we have the Holiday palette from Natasha Denona. This was the Aries palette. I like this palette, guys, but it is very hard to use, and this is a realization after having it for a while and realizing that I never jump into it because it's not very often that I want to use this tone with blue or with this. It's a pretty color arrangement, but using it together is not the easiest. I almost feel like this color is so pretty, but I wanted something maybe like a caramel or like a camel kind of color to mix with it, maybe like a deep brown, and then throw me some shimmery shades, and I would have used it a lot more than the colors that are actually in here that I just don't use it. This is a palette that I probably will pop out and put it inside of a magnetic so that I use it more often because I really don't use it like that, you know? This palette, you guys know I love it. Sunrise from Natasha Denona. This is a great midi size palette. I think this is her best midi size palette. It looks to me a lot better than the New Love palette. Like, I just think that that one is a goal. Like, it is so beautiful. Then we have this one right here. I got this in PR. This is the Pixie and Heart collaboration, I think it was. Yeah, the Heart Defensor. This is a beautiful color story, and it's a color story I've seen, and I've said this before. It's a very typical color story when it comes to like warm tones. It made me a really pretty look the few times that I have used it, but I will say sometimes I just go to this type of palette when I'm trying to do those looks, but it's good, you know? Okay, we've got the mother load. We've got the Pat McGrath Mothership number 5. This is the Bronze Seduction Gorgeousness. I love this palette. When I first bought it, I was not as thrilled as I've been using it and using it more and really appreciating it. And I really, honestly, guys, have created such gorgeous looks with it that it's almost justifying the price. And at first I wasn't sure, because I think when you put yourself in a really high price point, you feel like it should just like walk on your lids and like do the whole eye look for you, and it doesn't, obviously. So after a while you start to create looks with it, you start to see like how beautiful some of the formula is. But the only thing is, when I got this one, they gave it to me with a broken box. It's had a broken box and no swirly thing. The swirly thing was always like kind of broken, so I wish that I had a perfect box, because I really love this box. It's so pretty, but broken box. Okay, Morphe 3502. This palette is so big and bulky, and oh my goodness. But I don't dump it because look at these colors, guys. I mean, like if you want a warm tone dream, you've got it here, you know? So I can't get rid of it. This is my iconic New York Laura Geller palette. Looks like this. I feel like this formula is good. I don't feel like the price point is, I feel like it should be a little cheaper, to be honest. But I do like the color story, and I don't think that they sell this palette anymore, so that's why I kind of keep it, because I like the color story and I don't think you can get it anymore. So I don't know. I keep it. Okay, this one right here, this is the Colored Rain Queen of Hearts. This is kind of like the route that you would take if you don't want to get the Mothership 5, the Bronze Seduction, because a lot of these colors are not like identical, but you've got similar color story in here. So this is a really, really gorgeous palette, and yeah, I love it. And the formula, guys, is really good. Like this formula competes with some of the high-end formulas, and it's not that expensive. Okay. Oh, my legs hurt from sitting on them. We've got the Marvelous Mauves from Dose of Colors. And this palette, I've told you guys in the past, like I like it, but at the same time, like I feel like the colors are so close in color that when you apply it, your whole lid like turns one color. So I have a hard time playing with this one, and I've tried to declutter this a few times, and I don't know. I end up not decluttering it. I end up not decluttering it, but I should. The My Little Pony from ColourPop collection. Guys, I bought this because of My Little Pony. I say it all the time, I say it proud. A My Little Pony obsessed person when I was little, and I loved it because it had My Little Pony all over it. And now that my daughter loves My Little Pony, no, none of these look like the ones that she plays with. But My Little Pony is like, I don't know, I love it. So I like the colors now, because these colors are really in right now in this spring. So like I feel like this palette has actually come full circle for me. Like I bought it, hardly ever used it, and I've pulled it out a few times already for the spring. So it's been a pretty decent spring palette. Okay, so we have this ColourPop palette. This is the I Think I Love You. And I love this palette, guys, and I haven't used it lately because of course there's other palettes I've been using more. But when I first bought this, this was like everything I needed in a palette, and it still is. I need to start using this again. This is a beautiful palette. I don't know if you can buy it anymore. I gotta look at that, because if you can't buy it anymore, I probably won't use it on camera, but it's really good. Okay, the ColourPop Yes Please. I remember when this came out, this was like the Sunset dupe for the Sunset palette from Natasha Denona. And yeah, I mean, this to me is just a beautiful color story. It works really, really good. I actually have never purchased the Sunset palette from Natasha Denona because it's not really a color story I use very often, so I didn't want to invest in like the really expensive version. And this version has been really, really good to me, so I really like this palette. We've got Dominique Cosmetics, and this is the Rustic Glam. I love this palette. This palette is amazing. I really, really, really like it. You get so many colors in here. You can do so many looks. And sometimes with palettes, you get limited. Like, it's like a cool palette, but you're limited. Like, all your looks are gonna be warm. All your looks are gonna be like this. This is not like that. Like, I feel like you have different directions you can go. You can go green, you can go blue, you can go purple, you can go brown. It's like everywhere. Do you know what I mean? So you can create a lot of looks with this palette, and that's what I've always loved about it. And the formula. Okay, we've got the Marc Jacobs Leopard Frost. This is a great palette too. I don't know if you could still buy it, but I really, really, really like it. And the formula is so smooth and buttery. I have to use that one more often. Okay, so we've got the color. Okay, so this is my Huda Beauty Nude Light. This, guys, has been like my make up your mind champion. Like, I literally jump into this almost in every make up your mind because every palette is coming out with this color story. So this has been very useful for me. I don't know if it's been as useful on the eyelids, but definitely I've jumped into the palette a lot. We've got the ColourPop Mar palette, and I loved this when it released, but honestly, guys, I don't use this, like, at all. Okay. My munchkin has woken up, so I don't have that much time. We got a lot to go through. So I have the Aren't You Glad from ColourPop, and this is another one that I really like. I just honestly don't go into this color story a lot. I feel like I keep saying that, but I just don't. But it is a good palette, great color selection. I have the Tati Beauty Textured Neutrals. This is a really cool palette. I had my complaints about it, especially the ones that are called the satin. Is that what it's called? Sequin shade is like okay. Doesn't really stay on my lids too good, but the rest of the quality is pretty decent. I don't jump into it that often. I feel like I should. Actually, I should use this one more. The next one is from Milani, and this is the Gilded Gold. I like this palette. It was actually sent to me in PR, and it's actually really, really good. I like it. I've used it a couple of times, and every time I have used it, I have kind of went like, why am I not using this more often? It's a really good palette, and, you know, drugstore. Okay, this right here from Juvia's Place, guys, this is the best palette for just color, in my opinion. I've got so many cool colors in here, such good quality. Juvia's Place really kills it with the formula, so I'm really into this a lot. We have the ColourPop All I See Is Magic. This is one that I loved. It came out, was it 2 years ago for the holidays? And I thought it was so gorgeous, and I still do. I love this color story. But what I hate is that they kind of have discontinued it, so I don't use it that much on camera because you can't buy it. But it's such a cool color story. I love this. I wish they would like re-release this. It's such a cool color story. This one here is from NYX, and it's the Ignite palette. This is a good palette. The formula actually is impressively good. I just don't feel like I jump into this cool tone color story very often, so that's why I don't use it. But I do like the formula of it. I actually don't have any complaints. I think for the most part, most of the colors I liked from what I remember. Okay, so this is another Obsessions palette from Huda Beauty. This is the Neon Obsessions. Now this one I do not like as much as my other ones because of the fact that it is pigments, and pigments kill my lids, and I really honestly, I should just find out which ones. If the whole thing is pigments, then I should probably get rid of the whole palette because I can't use pigments at all. Like, they literally make my eyes very itchy. Then this one is the It's My Pleasure from ColourPop. This was a really good palette, and I used to use this so often. Lately, I haven't used it as much because I've had my other favorites. You know, you switch between what you like to use, and I haven't used this one that much, but it's really, really good. I got this in BoxyCharm, and this is from Storybook Cosmetics, and this thing is so damn bulky. I have to sit it on top of my makeup drawer because it doesn't fit inside, which is really frustrating. I feel like I'm gonna pop out these shadows and put them into like a Z palette because this is just too bulky, and I can't store it, and I want to give the shadows a shot, but I don't want to use this palette ever because it's just like, it's in the way, you know? Okay, so we got the Sephora Pro. This actually has been a pretty handy little palette. I bought this because I wanted these colors. I wanted like more vibrant colors, but I didn't want to pay a lot of money. And I heard a lot of people say that this was a good palette and it was on sale, but it was like on double sale. So I got this on double sale. I think I paid less than $30 for it, and it's expensive when it's not on sale. So I had to do it, so I got it. And actually it's worked out pretty good for me. This one right here from Morphe, I got in a BoxyCharm and I kept it because this is like a cool tone palette that's actually pretty. I do feel like this formula is okay, but it's not great. Like I feel like the Morphe 3502 was one of their better formulas, and then I don't know what happened. Morphe has changed their formula or something because I'm not really into their new palettes lately. This right here is my Makeup Geek Magnetic with 2 Viseart palettes in it. So the first Viseart palette is the Paris Edit and the Dark Edit is the other one, and I combine them together because I like to use them together. Love it. I think that this is the great, I love the way I get to use it like this, and it has worked out so good for me. This palette I kept because it's good quality and every eye look that I create with it is so cool. So this is from Koki and it's the Artist palette. It's called Utopia. It is such a cool palette and I have created really neat different lids when I have used this, and they're very pastel-y, very cool, very on trend, and I actually should pull it out now for spring. This is the original Jaclyn Hill Morphe collaboration, and this is not the new one. I heard that the new Morphe palettes that you buy now are a different formula than this one. This original version was amazing. The quality was insane. I do not know about the brand new one. You would have to watch like another video of somebody who has the new one, but I've heard that they're different. This one's really good though. Then I've got 2 Natasha Denona minis. I have the Lila, which this one is very highly used by me. I also broke the little plastic, and I love the Lila palette. I really, really like it. I also have the Mini Tropic. Mini Tropic is okay. There's one color in here that really sucks. This blue is like terrible. Like I hate it. All the rest of the colors are fine and they work good. So then I have my Dior Backstage. This is my brand new palette that I just added, and this is the color, this is the Rosewood one. And I will tell you guys, like I was not super thrilled with it in my first impression. I have kind of lightened up a little bit with it because I've used it very often for very natural day-to-day looks, and it's come in handy. So I'm starting to, you know, embrace it a little bit more. I do think it's a little pricey for what it is, but I'm embracing it a little bit more. Okay, Blood Sugar from Jeffree Star. I was so excited. I got this in a mystery box from Beautylish, and it's a beautiful palette. I really like it, but I hardly ever use it, and I need to look into which ones are pigments because it has pigments in it, and I can't use the pigment part of it, so I have kind of like put it aside to kind of do some research. Then I've got some singles here. I have this Catrice Liquid Metal Eyeshadow and this that I haven't even used on camera. And this is a Pat McGrath Mercury pigment, but I don't know if it's a real pigment. I don't know, but I haven't used it on camera. And it's really cool looking. Then I have this right here. This is ColourPop. This is a ColourPop magnetic, but inside of here I've got ColourPop singles, I have Anastasia, and I have Makeup Geek. So it's kind of similar to the other one that I showed you. Then here is my love. I love this palette so much. So this is my Natasha Denona Mini Retro, and it's so good. It's so beautiful. Then I've got some single shadows here. So these are all single shadows. I've got 2 ColourPop Super Shock shadows in Kathleen Lights, which actually I think I bought this because it was a Kathleen Lights collab. And then this one right here is called Weenie. So I've got 2 colors there, and then I got these in BoxyCharm and they were so good that I kept them. They're from Ace Butte, and one is called Cotton Candy and the other one is called Iced Latte. And they were super good, so I kept them. And that's it. That is my entire eyeshadow palette collection. I hope this video wasn't too long or boring, but you know, I wanted to show you guys every single one of them, so I figured this would be the best way to do it. So anyways, I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. Leave me your comments down below and let me know if you own any of these, which one is your favorite. Did you guys like this format? But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Talk to you later. Bye.